National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation has been a holiday tradition for 35 years. Every December, millions of families watch Clark Griswold's quest for the perfect family Christmas spiral into complete chaos. But behind Chevy Chase's pratfalls and Randy Quaid's RV lies a production filled with improvised genius, near disasters, and one of the most quotable scripts ever written. Here are 12 things you didn't know about Christmas Vacation that'll make you appreciate this classic even more. 1. Chevy Chase improvised some of the movie's funniest lines, but the most memorable is Clark's epic rant when he opens his Christmas bonus. The string of creative insults directed at his boss wasn't in the script. Chase made it up on the spot. Director Jeremiah Chechik let Chase improvise because he knew Chase's comedy instincts were gold. That rant is so perfectly in character, Clark's frustration boiling over in the most suburban dad way possible. Chase understood that Clark isn't mean-spirited, just overwhelmed. He makes his breakdowns hilarious instead of uncomfortable. This improvisation became one of the most quoted moments in the entire film. 2. The scene where a squirrel jumps out of the Christmas tree and terrorizes the family, it used multiple real squirrels, and the rodents didn't follow the script. They jumped on actors, climbed the set, and created genuine chaos that almost shut down production. Animal wrangler trainers brought several squirrels, thinking they could control them. Wrong. Squirrels are wild animals that do whatever they want. The actor's fear you see on screen is partially real. Nobody knew where the squirrels would jump next. The scene took 3 days to film because they had to keep trying to catch escaping squirrels. But that uncontrollable chaos made it funnier than any choreographed scene could be. 3. The Griswold house exterior was filmed on a street set at the Warner Brothers Ranch in Burbank, California. Not in Chicago as many people believe. The entire street was built specifically for filming, and sadly, both the house and the street no longer exist. They were demolished a few years ago. The production built this entire suburban neighborhood on the Warner Brothers backlot to have complete control over filming, especially for those elaborate Christmas light scenes. All those Chicago establishing shots were second unit footage, but the house itself was pure Hollywood magic. Fans who've gone searching for the real Griswold house in Chicago have been disappointed to learn it was never there. The street set where it stood has been torn down, so this iconic house only exists in Hollywood history. 4. Randy Quaid created Cousin Eddie's entire persona. The bathrobe, the dickie, the mannerisms, and stayed in character between takes. He wanted Eddie to feel like someone you actually might have as a relative, not just a cartoon character. Quaid understood that Eddie needed to be oblivious rather than malicious. He's not trying to ruin Christmas. He genuinely thinks he's being helpful. The RV sewage scene, the kidnapping of Clark's boss, Eddie does these things with complete sincerity. Quaid played him with zero self-awareness, which makes him endearing despite being absolutely inappropriate. That black dickie under the white sweater at the party, pure Eddie fashion. Completely wrong, but worn with total confidence. We all have a Cousin Eddie in our families. 5. The production used approximately 25,000 actual Christmas lights on the Griswold house. The electric bill for keeping them running during filming was substantial, and several blown circuits delayed production. Clark's obsession with Christmas lights was painfully relatable for 80s and 90s dads. Before LED lights, people actually did blow circuits trying to create elaborate displays. The production's lighting designer spent weeks planning which lights could run simultaneously without overloading. When all 25,000 lights turn on at once, that's a real moment. No CGI, just pure electrical power and practical effect. That moment of triumph when they finally work is every dad's vindication. 6. Julia Louis-Dreyfus played Margot Chester, the uptight, yuppie neighbor, 3 years before Seinfeld made her a household name. She was already a comedy veteran from Saturday Night Live, but wasn't yet the superstar she'd become. Here's a fun fact. Tons of people, including me, thought Margot's husband Todd was played by David Duchovny, from the X-Files. It's actually Nicholas Guest, but the resemblance had everyone on Reddit confused for years. Louis-Dreyfus brought incredible physical comedy to Margot. Those disgusted expressions, the pearl-clutching horror at the Griswold's chaos, she made Margot funny without making her evil. Watching this now, after 9 seasons of Seinfeld, it's fascinating. You can see the comedic brilliance that was about to explode. 7. The famous exploding turkey wasn't real food. It was a specially designed prop turkey filled with steam mechanisms. When Beverly D'Angelo cuts into it, the steam that explodes out was actually controlled handled by special effects technicians operating the rig remotely. The effects team had to create a turkey that looked realistically overcooked and could explode dramatically on cue without hurting the act. The meat that Chevy Chase chews with such exaggerated difficulty that was specially made to look impossibly tough and dried out. There was even a deleted scene showing Cousin Eddie and Catherine cooking the turkey at an extremely low temperature for way too long, completely dehydrating. Beverly D'Angela's horrified reaction is perfect. She sells the moment complete. That turkey represents every cooking disaster that's ever happened during holiday dinners. 8. The scene where Aunt Bethany's cat chews through the Christmas light cord and gets electrocuted almost didn't make it into the movie. Studio executives thought it was too dark for a family comedy, but test audiences loved it so much that it stayed in, and it became the #1 favorite scene. No real cats were harmed, obviously. They used an animatronic cat for the electrocution effect. It's pure cartoon physics brought to life. Tom and Jerry violence in a live-action Christmas movie. The scene works because it's so over the top and it's clearly not real, but it's shocking enough to be memorable. Test audiences laughed harder at this scene than almost anything else, which proved the studio wrong. Sometimes you have to trust that audiences can handle darker comedy. 9. The scene where Clark gets trapped in the attic while hiding presents and watches old family home movies wasn't just comedy. It's the emotional heart of the movie. Those old film reels showing Christmas 59 give us insight into why Clark wants the perfect family Christmas so desperately. This quiet moment shows us that Clark is trying to recreate the magical Christmas of his childhood. He's watching his parents, seeing himself as a happy kid and wanting to give that same feeling to his own children. It explains everything: the obsessive lights, the family gathering, and even tolerating Cousin Eddie. He's chasing a memory. This scene turns Clark from a cartoon character into someone heartbreakingly real. It's John Hughes writing at its finest, finding genuine emotion in the middle of chaos. 10. John Hughes wrote Christmas Vacation in just 8 weeks during his most productive period. He was also working on Uncle Buck and developing Home Alone during this time. His ability to capture authentic family dynamics made his scripts feel universal. Hughes understood suburban family life because he lived it. The Griswolds aren't exaggerated for comedy. They're barely heightened versions of real family. The generational conflicts, the unwanted relatives, the disaster-prone holiday preparations. Hughes took real experiences and amplified them just enough to be hilarious. His genius was making dysfunction feel familiar and lovable. We laugh because we recognize ourselves and our families in every scene. 11. The iconic sled scene where Clark's super lubricant sends him flying uncontrollably used a combination of practical stunts and careful camera work. Chevy Chase performed some of the sledding himself, though stunt doubles handled the most dangerous moments. This scene taps into every kid's fantasy, going so fast on a sled you can't stop. The escalating destruction as Clark crashes through fences, under trucks, and into stores is pure cartoon physics in live action. It's Tom and Jerry energy with Chevy Chase playing both roles. The scene works because it commits fully to the absurdity while keeping Clark vulnerable and scared. That transition from excitement to terror is perfect physical comedy. 12. Christmas Vacation opened with modest box office numbers and mixed reviews. Critics called it formulaic and crude, but cable television and home video turned it into a holiday tradition. Now it's one of the most watched Christmas movies every year, and TBS and other networks play it on repeat throughout December. The movie found its audience slowly through people watching it every Christmas and making it part of their holiday ritual. Families quote the dialogue, reference the scenes, and use Clark's disasters to feel better about their own holiday chaos. It became bigger than its theatrical release ever predicted. That's the power of a movie that understands real family life. It doesn't just entertain, it becomes part of the family. 35 years later, we're still watching Clark Griswold fight with the Christmas lights, and it still makes us laugh. So there you have it, 12 things you didn't know about National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. From improvised rants to runaway squirrels to 25,000 real Christmas lights, this movie was made with the same chaotic energy it portrays on screen. And that authenticity is why it's still the perfect Christmas movie 35 years later. What's your favorite Christmas Vacation moment? Do you watch it every year? Has your family quoted, "Merry Christmas, the crapper was full" at inappropriate times? And did you also think that Margot's husband was actually David Duchovny? Share your Christmas Vacation traditions in the comments. I hope you're having a wonderful holiday week with your family. I'll see you in the new year with more nostalgic deep dives. Until then, may your Christmas and your holidays be less chaotic than the Griswolds, but be just as memorable.